Leo Hayden, Larry Zelina, Bruce Jankowski, Jan White was a tight end on our football team. He was the fastest player on the team. He ran track in high school. Jan was the tight end and was the fastest end on the team. This is kind of team speed we had. Jack was fast. It was just amazing when we got out there as freshmen and we tried to scrimmage to Boston and we did it, that we could hold our own. It was amazing. So they knew that they had something special coming in, right? So now we go into our sophomore year, and Woody didn't really like to play sophomores. He always felt that for every sophomore you played, you lost a football game. That's how he felt about sophomores, but he had no choice because we were beating out their upperclassmen. Rex comes in the first game against SMU, and before it's over, he's got Billy Long's job. I was starting right halfback in those days, and Dave Rungo was starting the first game, and then Leo moved him out. Mike Sensible was playing safety. Jack Tatum had taken Jim Nine's position. Tim Anderson had taken the other defensive back position. Doug was in there. Jim Stillwagon was in there. We were loaded with sophomores, and we went to work. That first game we played against SMU, it was Columbus Day. And we were all babies in the locker room. Woody's in there, he's getting us revved up, he's saying, now this is your town, this is Columbus Day, and we're playing this team up in Texas. They come into your house and beat you, and they can't do it. You go out there and you just take care of business, and he opens the doors, right? And we all run out of that place, I think we were like walking on air, and we all jumped on each other on the sidelines. It was unbelievable, because we were kids, and Woody knew how to manipulate us, it was great. And that first game, we won 35-14, I believe. And Chuck Hickson was on that team, Jerry Levias. These guys are throwing the football all over the place, But when they got close, they moved between the 20s. But when they got close, we didn't set the ball. So eventually we won that game. The next week we played, I think, Oregon. We won 21-7. And the third week was Purdue. Now, the year before, they mugged us in Columbus. Leroy Keys, Michael, what's the quarterback's name? I forget his name. Michael Phipps, right. And these big defensive tackles, these huge guys, and it was a hot day, and Woody knew it was going to be hot. And so he said, this is how we're going to beat them. He said, we're going to run at them. He called their tackles touch hogs, because they were so big. So we're going to run right at these guys. The first set of downs, they might stop. The second set of downs, you'll start making more yards. The third set of downs, you'll start to break tackles, because they're going to wear out in this heat. And they said that Leroy Keys, one of the coaches made a bet that Leroy Keys would not get 25 yards that day. Now, this is a guy who came into the game averaging 140 yards, 150 yards rushing. The offense had over like 400 yards a game, and they were number one in the nation. And I think at the end of that game, he ended up about 24 yards, and we won that game 13-0 in Columbus. That was the game that was a springboard for us, because that was a powerhouse team that came in, and we took care of business that day. And then the rest of the season, we just kept rolling. It was unbelievable how things kept developing. With Rex, and when Rex went down, there was Ron Masajowski. The University of Wisconsin, they didn't even know who Rex is. They know Ron Masajowski. So both those games when we played them, Ron was the quarterback, and he lit them up. It didn't make a difference who was in there. We played around him. It was just a great situation. Woody had us ready. He was a great coach. And when we went into games, every Thursday night he would say, hey, Hayes in the barn. Every Thursday night for 3 years, Hayes in the barn. On Friday he would say, we put the nails in their coffin. And then on Saturday he turned us loose. It was unbelievable. He told us, this is how you're going to beat him. And that's what we did, and we believed him. And it worked out. So that first year was magical. We win, we go, and we beat Michigan. We get the Michigan game. It was crazy that night. Because, as you know, we hates Michigan. He didn't even use the name. The school up north, he called it. And when Michigan we came, where you could not goof off, you could not show lack of concentration, because he would go wild. He caught Ron Masajowski and Larry Zelina talking, and he had his pad in his hand with his plays on it. He threw them up in the air, stepped on them, started punching himself. He was really an intense guy. To say the least. He was very intense, but that's what made Woody Woody. And so you got your attention back real fast. And of course we stayed in the hotel in those days the night before. And we go out the next day, and we have a great game against Michigan. It was unbelievable. It was almost surreal. Because I think they scored first. But we came back and beat them 54-14 or something like that. There were plays, and we were making plays. Jim was still working. Jack Tatum, he blitzed and hit Denny Brown, that quarterback, so hard. His head went one way, the ball went the other. Another play, he ran on a blitz right past Ron Johnson, the great running back they had in those days. Turned around and caught him. It was unbelievable. 54-14. And I guess as legend goes or something, that, Woody went for a 2-point conversion at the end of the game, the last touchdown. And then they asked him, why you do that, Woody? Why did you do that with the score that way? He said because they wouldn't let me get free. So of course, Michigan heard about that. So the next year, that was their battle cry, right? So the next year now we're juniors, and that was actually our best football team. At junior, the competitive portion of football games were over in the first quarter of those days. And we just went after people and we just stormed them, Great football games. And again, we're undefeated, and we run into, we go up to Ann Arbor for that game of '69. And that had to be we were number one in the nation by light years. All we had to do was beat Michigan. We come home, we can't even go to a bowl game because we went the year before, we beat USC. And that's what this ring is. This is the '68 national championship ring. We beat them. That was O.J. Simpson's class. But in those days, you can't repeat in a bowl. And it was only 4. There's only 4 bowls in those days, so we could not repeat. So when we beat Michigan, we have to stay home. Nobody else sees us. But and that has fate would have it, we did not beat Michigan, as you all know. And that was our worst loss because that was a great football team they beat. A great football team. And after that game, we all come into the locker room and we get showered and we get dressed. And we sit in that little folding chairs in front of our locker room, right? And Woody's sitting right in the middle of the locker room. He hasn't moved. He came up there, he sat in that chair and he was paralyzed. He didn't move. He didn't say a word. His head was down. Coach Muhammad came up to him and said, Coach, you gotta go. So he put his coat on. We went out to this tunnel and the whole state of Michigan was waiting for us. They were out there. We got on that bus and they started shaking the bus, and all and saying all the nasty little words and us to do that, And so when we got on the plane to go back to Columbus, you could hear a pin drop in cotton. It was dead silent. Dead silent. You could hear somebody sniffling in the back of the plane because some of the seniors, they had no shot for revenge, right? But the next year, when we came back my senior year, it was unbelievable, the attitude and the intensity going into that season. When we came out for spring practice, there was a big rug outside the door leading from the facility to the practice field. It was OSU 12, Michigan 25. And we were off the bus that thing for 20 days. Back and forth, back and forth. It was, after that last day of spring ball, it was filthy. Okay? So then we all go home for the summer, we get our summer jobs working out. Camp opens up, we come back to the facility, we go through that door, it's back. It's back. Clean. And we start walking across this thing now. Every day we see this score. Now they tell you not to think about you have to think ahead. But clearly, somebody was thinking ahead, right? And I think every practice we had, there was some Michigan plays in the practice. We played 9 games in those days. And so he had some Michigan stuff ready for us. And so, sure enough, we go through the season, we're undefeated. We played Purdue the week before we played Michigan. And we didn't play very well that week up in Purdue. It rained, we struggled, we won, but we had to kick the field goal to do it, And so you think we'd see those films of that Purdue game because we didn't play very well. Well, no, we never saw the films. And not only that, we didn't call us over to the facility on Sunday, which he never did. And he had a big bag on the table and paper on all the seats. And we had to write our names on the paper and what we were going to do to beat Michigan. And so then we had to fold up, put it in the bag, and he shipped them up, and he took them out one by one and read them. Jim Stillwagon, you said you're going to do this, and now you're going to do it. Are you going to do it? Jack Taylor, you said John Brockington, you said the Rex. I mean, it was the whole team. It was like that scene in Moby Dick where he had the blood over to kill the whales. That's what it was like. That's what it was like. It was so intense. And before that game, we spent 2 nights in the hotel. They said the week they closed the school down, they stopped classes because they said the atmosphere for learning was destroyed. Because all you saw was beat Michigan, signs, sheets out of windows, sheets over statues. It was crazy. High Street was going nuts. You all know about High Street, right? And so we spent 2 nights in hotels. And we get in that game, and it is a battle. I mean, it is tough, because Michigan's always tough. And we're rattling back and forth. And at one point, Jim Stillwagon comes limping up the field, and Bill Mallory, his coach, said, "Jim, you can't get hurt today." And Jim just turned around and went back on the field. And we prevailed. We won the game like 20-9. And it was good times in Ohio again, because we had revenged that loss. So now it's off to the Rose Bowl. And this is where it gets good.